Hey everybody, welcome back to this never-ending video series of interviewing interesting people in the professional beauty industry. Today I have with me Shane Price, who is the founder and CEO of Green Circle Salons. And if you're not familiar with what they do, I'll let him share with you what they do here in a second. Just so grateful to have him on. I think what they are doing is super significant for this industry, but also for our planet. And I'm just going to let you tell everybody about Green Circle Salons and how you founded it.
Okay, amazing. So first off, I am so honored to finally be an interesting person and on your webcast, your show here. So amazing, Leslie. Thanks for having me here, and thank you to your guests. And hopefully I can add some value inside the conversation. So what does Green Circle Salons do? I guess we, in a nutshell, we certify salon professionals across North America to be sustainable. And so my remarkable team at Green Circle has built a remarkable platform that allows salons to be green, to build revenue, to gain clients, and to save money. And it's a very simple but powerful green strategy that really kind of has galvanized the industry around clean air, clean water, and clean soil. And so we do some fun stuff. We have a waste warrior community of over 16,000 certified salon professionals across North America. And again, together, we are really working collectively to challenge the status quo and to stop the negative downstream impact that salons can have on our planet.
I forgot to unmute. So I've been taking all these notes, and we've talked before, and when we talk about the negative impact that salons can have on our planet, what are we mostly talking about? What are the things that are the most impactful? What are the things that are the most impactful that Green Circle can sort of help address?
Sure. So this is a great question, and this is at the heart of the matter. Salons generate about 877 pounds of waste per minute. That's about 500,000 pounds of waste per day. That traditionally, in North America anyway, this waste is going to landfill. And so through our certification and through this program, we allow salons to divert 95% of that waste. And that waste really, if you think about it, they're just resources that if they're kind of reconfigured in some way, they can go back into our economy and back into circulation and create value. But Salon Green Circle, without our program, salons generally put this out to curbside, it goes to landfill, and this obviously is what kind of creates a bit of a negative impact, I suppose, on the environment. I think in the United States alone, there's about 2,000 landfill sites, and they suspect that by 2035, those 2,000 will be full. So what is the plan? It's a systems problem. It is not the fault of the salon industry or salons themselves, but there's no real program that's ever been put in place prior to Green Circle to help salons to mitigate that sort of downstream impact of what we call waste, but we think of it as resources. Secondarily, if you operate any business, no matter what kind of business you operate, generally you have some sort of carbon output or carbon footprint. And so Green Circle Salons, as of this year, actually the end of last year, have sort of raised the bar, if you will. And now we certify all of our salons to offer carbon neutral salon services to their guests, which mean if, I go into a Green Circle salon and I can, I guess, look great, but I can also feel great knowing that, the services that I had performed are being done in a climate neutral, sort of climate friendly way, which is kind of cool.
Right. And so I'm assuming that this is not free to anybody because obviously it costs money to do this. So I'm also assuming that there is a cost that may be passed through to a consumer. Is that how most salons do this? Because I will say I go to a Green Circle salon and they pass, I think, $1.50 through to me per service, something like that. But they do it really in a very prideful way, right? They awesome. have the sign up that says, hey, we're going to charge you this. And if you don't want to pay it, that's fine. Like anybody would say, no, thank you. Everybody, of course, wants to do it. Tell me, for somebody who's considering doing this, their salon, what could they be preparing for? What are the things that
Sure.
they could be taking out of their trash can, sending to you? And what does the cost structure look like? Not
Yeah.
nuts and bolts, but roundabout. Like, what are they asking from their consumer?
I'm so happy you preface that with your experience at your salon. So it's really great. And that is generally the experience that we sense from our salon community is, clients, salon guests, consumers, citizens are more than happy to contribute to sustainable beauty. Let's call it that. And so what does it mean for a salon? Ultimately, we help salons to do four things very powerfully. And that's sort of been the premise of our business model since day one. First is to be green. Second is to build revenue. Third is to gain new clients. And fourth is to save money. So in the be green sort of category, we help salons to divert 95% of their waste. So to your question, that's all the hair clippings, the foils, color tubes, paper, plastic, residual chemicals, aerosol cans, you name it. It's 95% of the waste that today a salon is generating. So 95% of that 877 pounds per minute that's being generated, we're able to kind of get back into circulation. So that's the be green element, plus certifying salons to be carbon neutral, which is kind of cool because it really accounts for a salon's total carbon footprint for the year. And then we work with a German-based group called Climate Partner, and we work with them and through them to carbon offset that footprint for that salon for the entire year, which allows salons to claim that they're offering carbon neutral services, which is just cool. I mean, if you're a salon guest, that's pretty awesome, I think. Saving money or generating new revenue inside the business. So to your question about costs, as with your experience, all salons add what we call an ESF, which is environmental stewardship fee, to the final bill of each guest. So it's not per service, but it's more per ticket. So per receipt, there's an amount that's added on, and it is usually about the price of, I don't know, a cup of coffee. Maybe it's about $1.50, $2. It depends on the salon's own.
Wait, where do you get coffee for $1.50?
Right, exactly. I buy the
Come
cheap
on,
stuff, Leslie. I just buy Tim Hortons, and I probably shouldn't mention the brand, but it's the cheap stuff. So yeah, for
Sorry,
sure.
keep going.
But it is like that, right? It's about half the price of a different cup of coffee, right? So yeah. So basically, so salons embed that fee into their pricing structure, and depending on their appetite, a salon's appetite to become more sustainable, they may add a little bit more than that. They might add $3 or $4, but Green Circle requires a certain amount, usually about $1 to $1.35, $1.40 or so per transaction, to be able to manage all of the work that we do. The waste that we take away has no value. It's quite expensive to manage. This is why no one's been doing it previous to Green Circle. There's not a lot of value in this waste. So the way that we manage it is through this funding mechanism. As I said, usually salons add $2, maybe $3. Whatever is above what they're remitting to us, let's call it another dollar, they're keeping inside their business per transaction. And so the average salon on our program earns between $3,000 to $5,000, $6,000 per year on our program. And the intention is to take that new kind of incremental income and reinvest it in their business. To, you might put it into low flow faucets or appliances of this nature, like eco heads, or you might buy high efficiency lighting, or you might think about how you launder your towels, and are there other options inside of that. So we provide salons with direction in terms of where they can invest that additional income, and it's up to the salon as to how they use that. We have a green salon directory that helps to channel green-minded consumers into our network of salons that are certified sustainable. And, I think we know now, we're in a time now more than ever where citizens are looking to channel their spending, dollars into businesses that are values aligned. And we just make it easy for people to find salons in their communities that they can support and patron. And then finally, it's the save money side, which is, again, taking that incremental income, investing it in technologies. And ultimately, when you do this, you reduce waste and you see this dropping to your bottom line as a business. So it's really kind of a turnkey operation, very simple to implement. In terms of the logistics of it, we send salons a welcome kit. In that welcome kit, it has sort of, different types of messaging and, window clings and, the front door glass certification seals. So, your guests are fully aware and engaged in this process of what you're doing to create transition and sustainability in your salon. Salons need to sort of ensure that they separate the hair from the metals, from the papers, from the plastics. And then we have another bin that's for the chemicals. And what we find fascinating inside of that is when salons begin to see all the sort of chemicals and all the waste, I suppose, of the chemicals after they've colored someone's hair, there's a bit of a shift in behavior in terms of, going forward, we have to reduce the amount of waste that we're creating, because this waste, chemical waste, is not good for the planet, but it's not good for our bottom line either. So you see some savings in that space too.
That's super interesting. So I've seen 2 presentations on Green Circle, and there were a couple things that I remembered. And so I always feel like if I remembered it, it was something that felt sort of significant to me beyond what you've said, but things that you're able to do to recirculate items. Some people might say recycle, you say recirculate, because what I really understand is that these items are not just being made into more palatable trash, if you will. They're being made into useful things. And for example, when I'm trying to explain this to other people, I always say to them, do you know what they do with the hair clippings? They put them in these big booms. And like when there's an oil spill in the ocean, they throw this boom in and it soaks up the oil, just like hair normally does. I remembered that, right? So for me, it was significant that it was not just making it better trash, it was making it useful.
Right.
I cannot remember what you do with nail polish, but I remember there's something that happens with nail polish that's really cool. And do you know what it is? It wasn't you that
You're going to
told
ask me all the tough ones.
I don't know, but I thought it was cool, whatever it was.
The nail polish is an interesting one. I'll be honest, I don't know that there's a whole lot that we can do with nail polish besides it going waste energy. Now, when you put it in a waste energy,
I remember that. You could make energy out of nail polish.
You can actually use this as a fuel source and recover the energy from it, which I think is, shy of there being a better solution. This is kind of the best solution. Otherwise, it's going to landfill. And landfill is a place you never want to send anything that's of this kind of nature, that is kind of in some ways would not be considered healthy for nature. I won't go beyond calling it anything else, but it wouldn't be healthy for nature. So you don't want it in a landfill. Landfills trap all kinds of materials, like hair clippings and stuff, and they create methane, and then that's just a significant contributor to global warming. So the hair clippings, yes. In the past, we have worked with organizations to get the hair to a site where there's been an oil spill. The big one that we did was the Gulf of Mexico when that happened with the Deepwater Horizon and the BP oil spill. And we had some sponsors to help us. We were just early days at Green Circle. It was 2010. We didn't have 2 dimes to rub together, hardly to get the hair down to the Gulf. And we had some great sponsors to help us get the hair down there. And it was used for picking up oil along the coastline. We've evolved this, and we've done some research with Fleming College in Canada. We got an insert grant from the Canadian government to really look at that more deeply, because hair is like this incredible fiber that has so many unique properties in terms of how it and what it can absorb. And so it goes beyond oil to different types of other toxins and so on and so forth. So more work to do on that. But in the meantime, we have spent time working with Virginia Tech in the US, and we've developed a biocomposite material that brings together hair, so keratin hair, and recycled plastics. You bring them together, and we've created a new segment inside of the biocomposite world of plastics. And the recycling bins that we make at Green Circle Salons, that we send to salons when they join our program, is actually made from hair that comes out of salons. And it's, as you said, recirculated in a really kind of cool way.
Yeah.
And to me, this is the beginning of something super significant, because when you think about all the different products, tools, accessories inside a salon that are made from plastics, there's an incredible opportunity to close the loop on this stuff, right? So we want to work with various partners to make that happen.
And then one other question, I mean, obviously we're going to direct them to your website to get information when people come to watch this video. But one of the other questions that came up at one of the sessions that you guys were at was, and I know the answer, but I'm sure you know it better than I do, is that if UPS, for example, is coming to pick up my waste, that's leaving a carbon footprint. What are you guys doing on the other end to balance that out as far as the environment's concerned?
That is a great question. So there's a couple of things. One is UPS. We work with them in such a way that we carbon offset together the footprint that's made by picking up waste. So all of the logistics inside of our program, we carbon offset it. So in terms of picking up waste, it's probably the best thing that you could possibly do is just offset it. Is it the best solution? No, but the reality with recycling is it's not something that sort of, people have this fantasy that when materials are picked up at a business in, let's call it Denver, Colorado, that it goes to a facility in Denver, gets recycled there, and then they're selling sweaters, at the local shop in Denver made from that material. Most of this stuff, so we're talking about paper, plastic, aluminum, these are commodities and these get traded globally, right? But they have to be in some sort of form that they can actually be traded globally. They need to be amassed, and then you need to find markets that will buy them. This is the complex part behind what Green Circle Salons does. Short of us picking it up, it's just going to landfill. And here is a much bigger problem, because now you've got this really great valuable resource that could otherwise just kind of be going back into circulation. So yes, it does travel a little ways to get to one of our facilities, but this is I suppose, the best possible solution that exists today. We go through, and this is going a little bit deeper, but we go through about 1.5 planets worth of resources every single year, right? So when we think about it, there's a group out there that does this calculation every year. It's called Earth Overshoot Day. And the needle moves up every year, and on that date, that tells us that we've used an entire planet's worth of resources, and so our goal is to keep pushing that needle back, and move away from using an entire 1.5 planet's worth of resources each year.
So, and I do remember him saying, like one of the ways you guys offset is, for example, planting trees and things like that. I think that this is a very complex issue. And what you guys do is very, very complicated. But from what I understand from the people in my own salon who do it, and from the presentations I've seen, one of your biggest role is making it simple, right? Is making it simple for not only the stylist and the salon to participate, but also for that consumer to understand, so that $1.50 feels like what it is, right? It's a contribution to the planet. I'm going to tell everyone I'm having my first grandchild this summer. I'm super excited.
That's
And I
awesome.
start thinking when my daughter tells me she's having a baby, I start thinking about, what am I leaving for this child? And not just me personally, but what are we leaving on this planet, right? And so this becomes significant to all of us. So I'm going to let you, if you have any last closing words. We try to keep these short and sweet.
Sure.
Everybody will have the information to be able, it'll be linked into the email on how they can reach out to Green Circle if they have questions, or if they want to just go find out more, or want to find out about becoming a Green Circle Salon. How many Green Circle Salons do you have in the US right now?
In the US alone, probably close to 2,800, close to 3,000 in the US alone. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and also, I will say it's super cool, because I feel kind of proud that I go to a Green Circle Salon by accident. I didn't really plan it that way.
Yeah.
But if I was planning it that way, I'd feel really proud if there were those in my community, right? I'm not a stylist. I'm a nurse by training, actually. And I see the value in it. So I'm so glad that you guys had this great idea. Do you have anything else you want to add before we say goodbye?
Well, first, thank you for saying that. And my wife is also a nurse. She is a frontline worker through this pandemic. And I honestly, there is not enough thanks to the people who have done this work in our world through the pandemic. And I would just say, you know what, to your point, we've come a long way in terms of sustainability, right? And our thinking around that, in our processes and systems in general. I'm talking about around the world. And, it seemed like a complicated issue many years ago. Today, we have simplified this process. We've made it ABC 1, 2, 3 for salons. So it's super simple to implement. and for salons to right away see the traction of becoming engaged in this conversation. And we empower salons with all the tools to make it happen. And really, to your point, this is the experience that we hear from salon customers or salon guests that go to salons, is that they love the fact that their salon has engaged in keeping people and the planet beautiful inside of their salon. So no, that's what I'd say. And I'm thankful to have had the opportunity.
Well, thank you so much. I hope you, those of you who are watching don't know that we're recording this late on a Friday afternoon, a beautiful spring day, and we're ready to get on with our weekend. So have a
Amazing.
great weekend. And I'm hoping that lots of people contact you with lots of good questions and we get some salons out there to become part of this solution. So thanks so much, Shane.
Thank you, Leslie, for everything you do. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.